Is it faith or am I delusional? Let's be real. Have you ever believed God for something so big that people thought you were crazy? Or maybe even you questioned your own self and said, okay, am I being delusional? Now, you're not the only one out here. But let me help you out a little bit though. Some of the greatest moves of God in the Bible, it looked crazy, it looked insane, it even looked delusional to a lot of people. Abraham and Sarah, let's go through it. Abraham and Sarah, they seemed delusional to think that they can actually have a baby at their old age, between 90 to 100 years old. It was delusional because it was physically impossible for them to have any kids. Now, what happened? God gave them a son, Isaac. What about Mary, the mother of Jesus? She believed that she could carry the Messiah, the great Jesus. Isn't that delusional to believe that you can carry a baby if you're a virgin? She was a virgin. Was she delusional? But God placed Jesus in her womb and she gave birth to Jesus. What about Jesus? They were crying over a dead child and Jesus came over and he was like, he's not dead, he's asleep. Notice how Jesus talked though, because his faith says that the baby is asleep, he's not dead. Of course, everybody thought he was delusional. They started laughing at him like, clearly this child is dead. Anyway, here comes Jesus and he raised that child from death to life. Again, something else that looks completely delusional. Okay, some of y'all might say, okay, those were Bible days. What about today's day? Let's be honest. Listen to the stories. They're all around you. There was a Nigerian guy. He was working in a boat. It flipped and it went under the water. It was deep down in the ocean. This Nigerian man said he was in the ocean. It was dark. Sharks were eating up his co-workers. But he said that he had faith in God. He was a man of God. He said, I had faith in God. I was praying. I knew that God would deliver me from this situation. And 72 hours, divers came and saved him. He was the only one that was alive. Only one who survived. What about the person that, I can't remember his name, but he had stage 4 cancer. He said he remained in faith that God would heal his body. Other people would look at him like, stage 4, you crazy. That's the ending, that's death right there. But he survived. Think about your own stories. If you really be honest, people around you, maybe you don't have a story, maybe people around you had a story of faith. I know I had many stories of faith, and I've seen God deliver. People thought I was crazy, but I've seen God deliver. Faith always looks foolish until it's fulfilled. I want y'all to remember that. Faith always looks foolish until it's fulfilled. You have to have crazy faith. You've got to be willing to look foolish, crazy, unrealistic, delusional to people, because you will. You will. They will call you delusional, but you got to stand strong and stay in faith. You got to stand strong and just know who you are and who you are believing in. Because when I say faith, I'm not talking about faith in yourself. I'm talking about faith in God. Let me tell you something. What is faith? The Bible describes faith as this: the substance of things hoped for. That's crazy within itself. The definition of faith is crazy. The substance, you're trying to tell me the substance of something that I'm hoping for? You want me to put something that makes something that I'm hoping real, like make something that I'm just thinking in my mind, that I'm believing in, make it real? It also says the evidence of things not seen. Hold up, wait a minute. Something I don't see? It's an evidence? It's like tangible in my hand? Are you saying that something that I don't see, there's an evidence to it? Something I don't physically see is evidence? Come on now. Even the definition of faith is crazy. So if the definition of faith is crazy, what you think you doing? You're going to be operating crazy. Scripture says that we walk by faith, not by sight. What do you mean, God? That mean that these bills are stacking up ain't real? That means that cancer that the doctor diagnosed you with ain't real? What you mean? I know I'm sounding crazy, but that's how I used to sound. What you mean? These bills are looking quite real. They about to evict me tomorrow. What are you talking about? The doctor told me that this is cancer. What you mean it ain't real? But see, faith makes it unreal because I'm seeing with my spiritual eyes. We walk by faith, not by sight. That means the things that are in our presence, the things in the natural eye is not what we're looking at. We're walking in our spiritual eyes, our belief in God, that God has already done it. And so what we're waiting on, we're just allowing God to bring his supernatural into our natural. Do y'all know how many situations I've heard where people have walked in faith, even myself, walked in faith, and God shows up like, wait a minute, Lord. You made something happen for me when I walked in faith. See, faith means you got to trust God and see how he'll bring his supernatural into your natural. You walk by faith because you need God. Because if you could do it yourself, what's the point? You don't need God if you could do it yourself. He said that my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways. That means that's why we can't figure it out. That's why we need God, because his thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. That's why it look crazy. That's why it look like we don't understand it. Because the way we understand to fix something, God is not going to fix it that way. That's why it looks crazy. Scripture says the natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, and he's not able to understand them because they are spiritually discerned. That's why these people calling you crazy, because God's ways will look foolish to the world. And are you walking in by your natural eyes? Are you walking? Aren't you walking in the Spirit? So if you're walking in the Spirit and using your spiritual eyes, God's ways will make sense to you. But if you got people around you that are walking in the natural, of course God's way is gonna look foolish to them. They're gonna question you. They're gonna make you look crazy. They're gonna think you crazy. Believe me, I've been called delusional. But let me tell you something. God always showed up. Got them eating their words. Got them eating their words. Sometimes I've made believers out of them too. Some of them I'm still working on. Not me, God is. Just remember this. What seems foolish is actually the wisdom and the power of God. So I want you to keep going. You stay obedient. That healing, the baby, the money, the breakthrough, your breakthrough is here. It's already here. You ain't delusional. You walking by faith in God.